Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final day of the live info session for the Future Bootcamp. And I'm super excited to have everybody here this evening. And it's another amazing time for us to be able to talk together and also have insight discussion on what Future Bootcamp is all about and also some other pivotal information as regards this wonderful bootcamp. My name is Yanolu Adeniji, and I'm thrilled to have every one of us here live joining me in all platforms. Yes, super excited to introduce to you that the Future Bootcamp is a training organized by the RCCG Continent 3 in conjunction with the Incubator Nigeria. And you would attest to the fact that this has been an amazing journey so far. As much as we all are anticipating your arrivals for those of our participants for the physical class, it is also sacrosanct to inform you that this is a godly event and is something that has come to affect the lives of different individuals to become, tech enthusiasts in the digital space. Yes, today I have with me not just one of our partners, but also a key major part of it that has to do with the success of this wonderful, bootcamp. With me is Incubator Nigeria, and I have one of their tech enthusiasts with me, and I would like him to introduce himself. All right, Mr. Demtayo, good evening, and please introduce yourself to our audience.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Dio. Friends call me TD, and then it's a great privilege to be here with us. And then I look forward to a good time, even as we stay together on this call.
Awesome. Awesome, Mr. TD. I'll call you TD, please. I
Yeah,
don't mind if you like that.
yeah. I'm finally
All
called
right.
TD, actually.
All right, that's great. That's a good one. So, TD, it is amazing that this is already a wonderful event. And looking back to when you guys started the planning phase up onto the execution phase, and now we are moving to another level of execution. How has the experience been for you? Managing the future bootcamp training.
Wow. Well, Future Clan Bootcamp permits me to say it's one of the biggest you can actually ever think of, and
Oh yes.
I tell you without doubt because quite a number of people showed interest to be part of this training from all across the 36 states in Nigeria. So, which shows that while we are actually cutting across edges. All right. Currently, we have, as a matter of fact, some of our volunteers coming already. We have student participants already coming in already, particularly for those that are staying in a far and wide, just to ensure that they are able to come in earlier and they rest well, and of course, so that they can have a good time of study. All right. And then one of the things we are also trying to do, or we are also deliberate about, as Incubator Nigeria, is that we are actually making a deliberate and strategic impact. All right. And that is actually cutting across all phase of the generation, actually of our generation. And then that is why we are also doing this, and of course with partnership with the Continent 3 RCCG.
Awesome. Thank you so much, TD. That was very insightful. With the way you were able to, deliver this wonderful answer to the question, I'm super excited. I used to, you are super excited about this project, right?
I am.
All right. So now looking at the goals and objective of the Incubator Nigeria, right? How does Future Clan Bootcamp fit into the goals of the organization?
All right. So, by the grace of God, Future Clan is not just one of those digital skills training center. It's not just a place where you just come and learn. By the grace of God, we have a mandate that we are running with, and that mandate is to ensure that we take everyone, particularly young and people who believe that they can actually do something valuable with their time and all of that with their skills and abilities, all right, to make it an impact in their life. All right. So, and how do we do that? Like I mentioned, the motto of the Incubator Nigeria is deliberate and strategic impact. So that means whatever we are doing, we actually deliberate about this impact, and then the impact is we are taking people, and over the years we have had free training, and I'm saying it again, that free training that you don't have to pay any dime. All you just need to do is make yourself available, and then we are using that to change the narrative. Trainings where you can actually go outside, and then you know how many thousands of naira you pay for it, and even if getting it from an organization that is not in the country, you know how many dollars you're going to pay to get that training. And then we are doing this for free just to ensure that everyone is able to fit well and then to be able to position themselves correctly in the community. And so Future Clan is one of those trainings. And of course, this particular one, we are doing this to commemorate and celebrate our father in the Lord, that is Pastor E.A. Adeboye. So, like Yanu mentioned, that this is a godly event, right? So that means we are also a Christocentric organization. So we believe in God, and then our what's it called now? Our achievement is also centered around God. We believe so much that we are also doing this to also equip people spiritually, and that is what makes our trainings even different from every other training around. So we don't just impart skills, digital skills. We also ensure people are spiritually sound while they are even learning what's called skills, because that also helps their character formation even when they begin to work wherever they find themselves. So we are also particular about people getting offers, internship roles, jobs, even from everywhere in the world. By the grace of God, we have had people trained with us in Incubator, and then they are currently doing well outside the country. Yeah, at least recently we see saw some of our students who was trained here in Nigeria, relocated to the UK, and then has a training facility where you can also train. So that means we are actually meeting up. And then Future Clan is one of those training that we will be using for such things. So I want to say that if you are coming, if you are privileged to come or to attend the physical section, you have set yourself up for what a major shift in your career, a major shift in your career. And that is to say that you have what it takes to actually position yourself to be a global phenomenon. Let me just pause at that.
Thank you so much, TD. That was that was interesting to hear, to listen to. Thank you so much, TD. Now, TD, I want to ask you this question, right? Looking at the statistics of technology worldwide now, you would be able to attest to the fact that Nigeria is not, in quote, really up to standard in that sense yet. Now, when I say up to standard, it basically means that if you're looking at the top 10 countries that are doing well in technology, I'm not sure Nigeria is one of it. And I want to ask you, do you think this is one of the major goals and objective of the incubator in Nigeria? Not just to also equip people in Nigeria, but also to make sure that Nigeria is also noticeable in becoming an influence in the technological space of the world.
Amazing stuff. One of the things I say we are here, we are doing is we are making deliberate impact because we have also noticed this lacuna. And now, what is the lacuna is that people don't even know what to do. No, we have had people said, okay, they want to pick up a skill, they are looking for a job, they are looking for what to do. And if you ask them, what can you do? What can you offer? You discover that people they don't even know what they want to do. They don't even have what it takes, right? Because they are not positioned correctly. If you are not positioned correctly, an opportunity comes to you, you mess it up. All right. So that is what we are doing. And that's why I said we are making a deliberate impact to say that we go out there, we go all out there, throw our opportunities outside. But I must say also that when we throw opportunities like this outside, it must meet with people who are also ready, right, to make a deliberate shift. Now, if opportunities like this come to you and then you are not ready, you just come, attend the training, and then nothing changes, right? But what we are saying is that we are looking out for people who are ready, and as soon as much as they are ready, the opportunity comes their way, and then it comes together and necessitates, and then they are able to go further. So our major goal is to bridge that gap. And I am saying again that even from our previous trainings, we are already in the loop of doing that because we have trained people from where they have no idea of what digital skill is, and then they are gainfully employed, like even to the point that they are working with organizations who are outside of this country. So that is what we are doing, and then that is what we are giving to. All right. So we also have a vision. We also have and our vision is even all encompassing to say we have a short time, which is just between 5 years. We have a long time to say, okay, this is like 100,000 people we are training in the next 5 years, and then far and wide to say, like, 10 100 years if Jesus starts. Of course, like I said, we are a what a godly organization. So we have all of that put together, and then that is why we put our trainees out there once we identify that there is a need. So of course, Future Clan is actually targeted at celebrating our Father in the Lord, and that is why we are giving out a training that is worth 300 US dollars. You want to do that calculation right away and then know what that looks like now. So what 300 US dollars, and then we are impacting people for free. We are asking people to come. All you just need to do is bring yourself, of course, bring your tools, what you'll be using to learn, and then we provide the facility and what you need to learn, and then you learn, and then you move on with your career in life.
All right, thank you so much, Sidi. Now that altered my brain chemistry. I love what you just said right now, and my jaw literally dropped when you were making mention of some pivotal information right there. Now, Sidi, we had a virtual session right for this Future
Yeah.
Plan Bootcamp
Yes, yes,
training.
yes, we did.
We onboarded over 3,000 students. That's huge. I
Let,
mean,
let,
that
let,
is
let
very,
me
very
let me correct that. Not 3,000 actually.
okay.
So we onboarded over 4,000 people.
Oh
Out
my
of
God.
Yes, out of about 11,000, close to 12,000 applicants. So
Wow.
there were stages, all right. And then
Hmm.
what we did rather is that we want to ensure that if we are bringing in 1,000 or more people, they must also be people who, once they come for the training, they are able to meet the requisite. Right,
Hmm.
so we have close to 12,000 people applied for this training, and from then, so we also screened them, gave them a measure of test to to why they are filling the form, to also, of course, they didn't know that it was a test, but then there were tests, so there were criteria. So that criteria was the first level to also read people out of the training. So after that, we were able to bring down at least about maybe 7,000 to say we were not qualified. So 4,000 people were onboarded for our virtual classes. And I'm telling you that one of the challenges we have is when people are not, I mentioned the other time that when opportunity meets with preparation, it's a good deal for you, right? So some people were not even prepared. So we send them an invitation to come on board on our own learning management system so that we can onboard them. So unfortunately for some people, they couldn't past that stage. So, and at that point, there's nothing we really could do. So, out of that, we have about, let's say, 40% of people who passed that stage. 40% of people were able to what? To navigate that route. So that was another level of what? Screening. So we had different stages of screening. So another stage of screening we did was to ask people if you will be available for the what? 8 hours and all of that. There were different stages that don't need to bother us with different kind of what's it called now? To iterate the stages we use right on this call. But then there were different stages that we did to ensure we have the 1,000 people that we have invited for the physical training right now.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you so much, TD. I mean, you just, passed me through a whole lot of experiences on how the
Yeah.
virtual class went. And I'm sure that people that were not part of it are missing a lot.
They,
Thank
they,
you so
they
much,
were not
TD.
missing, they missed, because it was
No,
an
that's right.
interesting time actually. And then of course, if you check through our social media pages, you will hear testimonies already how if
Yeah.
it was just that 3 days alone that we had to call the training, people feel fulfilled because it was not a waste of their time, because we didn't even, it was your data. And then people could say that, I had one of the people shared on our what's it called on our LinkedIn to say that I have been attending trainings before now, even a paid training, and I have never been impacted as much as I have been in just 3 days. You can imagine
Wow.
that. So
Wow.
that means our own goes beyond looking at the cost you are actually bringing. We want people who are also prepared at heart to come, and then as we try to ensure by the grace of God we impart knowledge also.
All right. Thank you so much, CD, for a succinct answer to the question I just asked. Thank you so much. Now, aside from the fact that Incubator Nigeria is, playing a pivotal role in the success of this project, I'm also very much aware that there is a particular tech skill you are handling, teaching the students. Please tell me about this tech skill.
All right. So, okay. So, for people who are practically available for our virtual section, you probably maybe put a face, at least maybe 1 or 2 times. You should see yes, you should actually see my face. So, my name is Timida once again, and then I am the data analysis lead instructor. So for that virtual class, so I was the lead instructor for the class, and of course, I will also be the lead instructor for the physical section. So I am in for data analysis. So let's go.
That is amazing. I mean, when you were even answering your questions, you were giving me data informed decision makings, right? Now, talking about data analysis, Temidayo,
Yeah.
what is, or what I would put it this way, what role does data analytics play in becoming a better version of yourself? Because I mean, one of if I looked at statistics, right, and I was able to realize that in the top five tech skills in the world right now, data analysis happens to fall in one of the top five. Now, my question now is, I become, a bit much more curious about it, that for data analysis to be one of the top five tech skill needed in this world right now, what is the major impact data analysis have on becoming a better version of yourself?
All right. Now, what we are doing currently shows that data is actually important. And then there's this popular saying that said data is the new oil. All right. And you know what that means. Now, let me sample from even we on everyone that is joining from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Instagram, from Facebook, and all of that. Now, every one of us constitute what we call data. Now, after this call, after this meeting, I might just make an insight from it to actually see the kind of the population that we have joined this call. Now, that shows us the importance of data. Now, the importance of data goes beyond we just talking about. Let me just say this on the lighter mode, and I keep saying this in my classes as well as anytime I am privileged to teach like that. To say, the first time there was a particular class I was taking, and then we got talking about data, and somebody asked that how many gig or how much is 1 gig. I felt very lost at first. Like, what are we talking about? So are we not talking about data here? So he was thinking that we were talking about data for subscription, right? But what we are looking at here is what makes, how can we make a proper insight from what we have around us? And that insight helps us to make proper decision. And that decision is what we use to move on or to do whatever we have to do, right? So now, what we do with data is we tell a compelling story with it, right? Of course, there are different phases, and I can tell you categorically, there is hardly any role, there is hardly any career path. There is hardly any digital skill you want to do today in Nigeria or all around the world that there will not be an undertone of data inclusion. And I say that again, there is hardly anything you want to do, particularly when you have to actually gather insight or you want to make decisions, accurate decisions, I mean to say, that you would not be needing what? Data. So that means data is the newest oil, and that means data cut across all facets of what? Of tech skills. So you can think of. So that means we cannot do without data, right?
Yeah, thank you so much, TD. I mean, that was bossing. I like the energy you gave. You said that data is a new oil. Well,
Yeah.
and that's right. That's right. Now, I would like to announce to the live audience that if you have any question for the Incubator Nigeria, or you have any question for Temidayo, please drop it in the comment section in any of the social media platform you are joining us for this live info session with the Incubator Nigeria. All right, so TD, let's move further. Now, you've given a very good and detailed explanation on the roles and responsibilities that data analytics plays in becoming a better version of yourself and even to the world, right? Now, give me like a brief insight into what data is all about. Now, I came to a discussion with a friend, and one of the major things they said is data is life. Now, I know that data is life. Some people out there doesn't have an overview of how data becomes life in quotes, right? So, in what sense would we conclude that data is life? One. Then, secondly, what are the basic things that we need to know about data analytics? Even if I'm not a data analyst in quotes, right? What are the things that I can do to at least have a data-driven decision making?
All right. So the first part that you just talked about is I come from this angle to say, like, look at this call we are on right now. We are here because of data. Yeah, we are here because of data. Because people joining is because we have the data of people. And let me say that this data we are talking about comes in two major forms: unstructured data and then the structured data. I hope I'm not beginning to teach in this on this call, right? So now, what do we mean by structured data? Now, when you give out an information, that is what? That is data, and it could be termed as unstructured data. All right. So when I'm saying that, okay, take for instance, now on this call, Ianu is my host, right, from Incubator Nigeria, and then Ianu is a young man. Ianu is wearing the white shirt. Ianu is this. Ianu is that. All those are information, and then I've gathered those data around Ianu. So I am also on the call, and then we have quite a number of people on this call. So I can say from this call we have about 150 something people, or 170 or 300 people on this call. Now that is an unstructured data, but it becomes a better data when we have now structured it to say that Ianu is a gender male, and then we now put it in a model or in a table, all right, to now bring it together with every other similar data. So when we bring it together with the other similar data, it becomes a what? A structured data. So when we have a structured data now, we can make a better decision with it. But when a data is not structured, all right, you can still see it as an information, but not a gathered information, not a structured information. So hence, you can also still make mistake with it. So the best way to actually get the best from data is to convert whatever data you have to what a structured data, and then you can now take your insight to have a proper decision. All right. So and then the other thing you now also make mention of is please just remember the second part now so that I don't
So I said that having understand that data is life, right? What are the
yeah.
basic things a normal person should know about data analytics
All
without
right. So
being a data
of course,
analyst?
I think I've also mentioned, yes, I want to be sure. I think I've mentioned something around it. So what are those basic things? Basic things you need to actually understand is what exactly do you want to achieve? What results do you want to see? When so I keep saying this to my students to say that before you start ask or querying your data, you must have at the back of your mind the answer you would like to see. For instance, how many guys are in my class? How many ladies are in my class? That is querying data. This might look very like trivia, right? But then you can be very, very surprised to say that things like this you can actually, by the time you put them together, you are able to come to a point where we say that this is what we do. So that means this is important in even every basic decision. Now, let me say this: quite a number of us, if not all of us, actually make decisions based on data. But most people don't know that that decision is actually based on data. If I should ask you now, so what is the population that we have in Nigeria? I know people will say different kind of figures, right? But deep down, how many people do you have in your house? How many people are how many times did you eat per day? How many times did you actually use mobile transport, public transportation? How many times did you probably have, if you have a car of your own, drive out, and all of that? All those things are what? The use of data, right? So by the time you bring all these things together, structured, you know that you are what? You are already an analyst. But then most people don't know that that's what they do, right? So I think I've been able to say something about that other part now.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, TD. That was informed. Very, very informed. Now you have been able to give, a very detailed answer to the question, which would also, make me ask this next question. Now that we're talking about data analysis, and you're an expert in the data space, right? So now, what are the probably major tools that you should know, in becoming a good data analyst? Now, having said that, I do a lot of research, right? And I realize that many people who call themselves data analysts are basically people that are good on Excel only. And they push it to them that Excel is all you've got to know about data analysis. Do you think this is right? And if it is wrong, what are your own opinions in this regard?
All right. So now, when we are talking about tools as a data analyst, let me begin from other Excel. Now, you find out that when people say they are actually good at working with Excel, I still say sometimes that check again to be sure you are actually good at it. Because there is a level you even get to in Excel, and then you will be confused to so that is this actually an Excel? Just with Excel, actually, you can do a lot of query with Excel. You can do a lot of analysis with Excel, but it all depends on how much of this tool you can use. So Excel is a very fundamental tool for data analysis, but not limited to. So if you are still only using Excel, so that means you have actually constrained yourself, because these days organization want to see different approaches to how you can analyze data, and of course in a more similarly looking smarter way, right? Sometimes it is not about how hard you have worked, but it is about how smart you are when working. All right. So some people can just spend a lot of time working with what's it called, Microsoft Excel, but then there are things that when you just look at on maybe Power BI, for instance, now by the time you do 2 or 3 clicks, you are good. Now, let me talk about some other tools. There are different, numerous tools when you're talking about analysis, right? But then I'll just limit it to a few depending on what organization you're working with or what you're introducing or what you want to see. All right. So, major tools that we actually have for analysis, we have Power BI or we have Tableau. Now, these two tools have their own advantages and disadvantages, pros and cons. Now, this class is not actually to talk deep about it, but then I'll just make mention of those tools. And of course, not limited also to this. Now, we have the SQL, that's the structured query languages. That is where you query your data. There are different languages. Of course, we have the Google Sheet as well. You can actually major in all of these one after the other, and then you hone your skill properly, and then you can be sure you are doing this excellently, right? You can be sure you are doing this excellent. So now there are different tools starting with Excel. Now you can now move to Google Sheet, then you can migrate or go further to Power BI. Power BI is a low code or no code application owned by Microsoft as well. Then you have Tableau. Tableau is actually a more robust application that allows, it's not a Microsoft organization, it can be used on the different what's it called, applications based on different applications. But Microsoft is an enterprise application actually. So that is why we have that. All right. So I think I've been able to say that. So I think we should take more questions.
All right, thank you so much, TD, for that insightful answer. Now, Tafik is asking from YouTube. He said, "Thank you for how much you have impacted us during the live class." I'm sure that this is one of your students that was probably on the live session, and he's asking, and I would like to ask you, what tools are we expected to come with for the live class?
For the physical class, it means to say.
Physical class, it means to say.
All right. So interestingly, so this is an open call, all right. But everything you'll be needing for the physical class, when you get to the class, they are not big tools that you cannot get to. See, of course, we have talked about the Google Sheet. We have talked about. We are still going to talk about it. We are still going to talk about Microsoft Excel. We're going to talk about Power BI. We're still going to talk about some query languages, and we're going to talk more importantly about how you can build your portfolio as an analyst. All right. So these are some of the things you should just watch out for in this section, particularly for data analysis class. So some of these things are what we expect or what you are going to see. So for tools, just come with your PC. Make sure you are coming with a very good PC that you can, of course, then it has been communicated to you that you need an internet access, because they're going to be showing you. You might need to download 1 or 2 applications, and then you are good to go.
All right, thank you so much, TD. Now, Emmanuel is asking from YouTube as well. Onboarding a project for an organization, is it the function of a data analyst to get the data independently, or to be supplied, or will be supplied by the organization? What dealing when dealing with data exploration? So basically, it's asking again. Let me come again for those of us that didn't get that. Emmanuel is asking from YouTube, onboarding a project for an organization, is it the function of a data analyst to get the data independently, or will be supplied by the data by the organization when dealing with data exploration?
All right, so it all depends. It all depends. So if you are working on a project for an organization, right? So if you engage me on a project, I request for data from you. So what do you want me to do? What do you want to see? So I need data to work with. All right. If I want to do a research, I know what I'm looking for. Like I mentioned the other time, for you to actually call yourself an analyst, to work on any project, you must, at the back of your mind, know what you're looking for. You don't just go on any project and then start analyzing, start visualizing, start doing this and that and that. So no, you must have something at the back of your mind that you want to see. So if you are working for an organization, the organization has structure. The organization has what what they do, their flow, they have their how what they expect from whatever data they have. So they provide data, and not just data, documentation. So documentation is the statement or the document what you read about that particular project to have an understanding of what is expected of you as an analyst. So when you read the documentation, you know what is expected. So from the documentation now, from the objectives, excuse me, you can now picture that this is what and what you need to do. All right. So that's how to explore data basically. So alternatively, let me also talk about if you are getting data for yourself, right? Sometimes, man, I do this personally in some of my trainings to say that students should explore and then get data for themselves in probably some fields or areas of life, walks of life, and then try to explore, try to see what is out of what they can get from it, the insight, and that is actually to build the ability of what deriving insight from data.
All right, thank you so much, CD, for that wonderful insight to the question. And I'm sure that Emmanuel and Taufik have been able to get the right answer to their question. Now, Temidayo, you have been talking like a data expert, of which you are, and it's looking like you probably learned all of these things in 2 months. So, just briefly, tell us about your data journey.
All right. So my data journey started some 5 6 years ago, and I'll tell you how. So I'm a graduate of computer science, and then everything about data started not while on campus. So I had a different career path that I was going to tread rather. I was already looking at becoming a network administrator, right? Which had, in fact, at some point, I was already preparing for one of my C-level certificate examinations, all right? And then while I was doing that, so I got an offer, just like some of us are getting here, as a scholarship to actually attend a training, right? To attend a boot camp. And that boot camp was not, well, organized by Nigerian organization, was not, it was of course in partnership with the company in Nigeria, but not was not funded by Nigeria organization. So it was a paid training. So I was paid for attending the training. I was paid to be a good student in the class and all of that. Right. And I also got an internship role. So and after that, I did stop at that. So I keep at it to ensure consistency in my data journey. So I started that from a level. So now this is about a 6 years journey now down the line. But then I can tell you that it hasn't been like a smooth sail as it were. But then what keeps you going on this track is consistency. Right? The day you stop learning, you stop growing. So that's just the truth. As it stands now, there are still some things that you still want to learn more and more. So since that time, so I found my passion and my interest after that training. So after that time, I've attended, taking some trainings that I had to pay for, some for free. So like that. So but then from one training to the other, from networking meetings, events, and all of that to the other. So my journey basically was introduced to data by a friend, and when I entered into it, I saw a future in it, and then I started doing it, and then here I find myself today. I've been privileged to train people who are even within and outside of the country. I had a training earlier this year where people gathered from different parts of the country. People came back from I had a student from Australia, I had a student from of course quite of them from the UK, one or two from the US, from Gambia, from Ghana, from Zambia. Yes, and then like that. So it's not a function. Now, I don't have to probably live where I am and then I'm getting people trained. So it's not a function of what you just do after in 7 days and then you assume that you have arrived or you have achieved. So that means you must still give yourself to what? To deliberate learning, right? And that is what we are talking about here.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, it is interesting to say that our data analytics facilitator also attended a bootcamp to become a data analyst. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, TD, for that. Now, you were mentioning the aspect of how your journey has been so far, and it just sounds so interesting. It sounds so amazing, and it's looking like I can also jump on it, even if I don't have any idea on data analytics. But then, were there the moments of your life, in your data journey that were like your ups and downs, and how were you able to come through that? Because now you would agree with me that after this training, We are going to have, just like how there's an insight into the scriptures, permit me to be scriptural now based on the fact that this is a godly event as well. We had like a parable of a man sowing seed, he threw some seeds and all of these stuffs. And based on the level of how they were going to germinate, some were trampled on and all of this stuff. So now I'm saying that to say that even after this physical training, right, we would see some students who probably, based on the, so to say, difficulties on how to explore around the data space, they will not want to pick it as as something they want to go into as well. So during your ups and down moments, how were you able to encourage yourself in the Lord? Because I'm sure it was in the Lord. And how were you able to continue in that same journey to become a successful man just as you are now?
All right. The truth is, there are several times. I've worked on a project and then I got so confused that I had to reach out to some of my friends and say, "Guys, how far?" There's another thing I need to actually talk about here. Now, this field or this career path is not a journey, or is not a career path that you can walk as a lone man, like a lonely person. There are times that you just need to call. A friend of mine was reaching out to me on LinkedIn, was it last week, to ask some questions just about some things. It could happen like that. I just reach out to some of my guys. What's up? I have one of my friends that I run to anytime I just have this help. Like, guy, what's up? This. I saw this update. I've not been able to navigate it. How do I? So there are times like that. There was a particular point in time that I even think I was going to probably just stop, all right, that nothing was forthcoming from it. Now let me also say this so that you understand that it is not after 7 days that you start saying that you are looking for probably an internship role that will bring you money. Sometimes you might just do this because you just want to build a robust what's it called now, a robust what do I call it now? Portfolio
Portfolio.
from it. And then you want to build something substantial before you can now start to say that, okay, you want to now say you want to train people. And while you are waiting, those are your waiting period. So if you now, this kind of person that you are just motivated by money alone, I'm telling you, you get distracted and then you get frustrated easily. All right. But then you are this person that you are just there giving yourself to learn, even while you are not earning, you are learning. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. So you are still paying attention. So a time will come when everything you have learned, by the time you just get an invitation to train something, you don't before they even start bargaining, you know where there are some things they won't even discuss with you at the bargaining level. All right, but it didn't just start in a day, right? I don't want to go deep into it. It didn't just start in a day. That's just it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, CD. Thank you so much, CD. And yes, I would attest to that, that it doesn't start in a day. It's a journey, right? And we need to be intentional about this journey in order to become the best in whatever we have pictured ourselves to be like. Now, thank you so much. CD, I want to ask. I hope you're not tense about this next question.
Go ahead, go ahead. We're here together.
All right, so today I want to ask, data analytics is important, right? And I want you to give me an overview on best practices for data analysts. Now, when I say best practices, I mean best practices and trends. What are the things you need to do as a data analyst? Now, it doesn't just become a skill, so to say. There are also soft skills you need to acquire, even being a data analyst. Now, in that light, now, give me the best practices that a data analyst need to embrace in order not just to be a good visualizer, but also a good character. Do you get my point? Please give justice to that
All right.
question.
So let me start by saying this. Now, it's not just about you saying that I'm an analyst, right? Now, part of what you can do best for yourself is your documentation. Your data documentation. This is very key and this is very important. So, if you are able to analyze data so much so that, but you have issues with what you document, so such that when you are probably populating your portfolio, you have good visuals, but you are not able to interpret properly or you are not able to document properly, there will be a problem. So that means there are times that you might just even need to take yourself out of the field of data. Of course, there are proper integration in all of this. You learn some other soft skills. For instance, you want to learn an act of technical writing. You want to learn some act of how to put some the reporting format together and all of that. So all these are things that is expected that you also be able to do. So you want to get some knowledge from other fields so that you, of course, now let me also say this. Also, as an analyst, I'm just talking generically now based on the field. Data analysis is a broad field as well. Maybe you don't know. So when you say you're an analyst, so you can now also narrow it down to say that you have a particular field that you are actually targeting on. For instance, maybe you are just a financial analyst, right? We have financial modeler, financial analyst. We have people who are technological analysts. We have people who are different form. We have sport analysts, and we have like that. So that means you are giving yourself to that area. So you want to learn more about that field. You want to learn more about that path, and then you are giving yourself to it, and then you are now leveraging on your own tools and skills to become a better person in that field. So I will say that there are better other soft skills you really need to hone properly, and there's one of such is actually technical writing skills and all of that, right?
All right, thank you so much, CD. And also to buttress what you just said, I think communication is also part in pivotal in
Exactly,
becoming a
exactly.
data
There's
analyst
no
as
way
well.
you will be able to actually. So thank you. Sorry for. There's no way you will be able to actually do well at telling a compelling story if you are not able to communicate it. To tell a compelling story, you must be able to communicate, because whenever you are reporting or you are doing an analysis, you are telling a story. Because analysis, that is a broad difference. I don't know, we didn't talk about that's the broad difference between data analysis and data science. It's a broader field of study to say, okay, data science is a field of study that actually talk about the probability of what is to happen in the future. But analysis talks about what has happened, and then how we can analyze based on what data we have to say that this is what decision we are making from it. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, Tiri. Thank you so much for that. Now, one of the major things that I really love about this project, Future Clan, Bootcamp, is the fact that we are now understanding that this is a transfer of wealth. Now, when I say transfer of wealth, it basically means that you are equipping young individuals to be able to have a tech skill that can help them eradicate poverty in their lives and even the future, right? So, but then it is also sacrosanct that we need to understand that if you are going to be a tech person, many a times the wrong retention many people have is that once you're into tech, you make money. And by the time they are not making money, they're out of tech and they become wrecked, and they don't have a future to themselves already. Now, TD, I want you to help me balance these things up. Tech, my journey, and wealth. Do I come into tech with the mindset that I want to make money? Or do I come into tech with the mindset that I want to equip myself, and during the process of equipping myself, I become wealthy in the right space as well? Please make justice to that question, T.
Now, like I said earlier, that most people don't even have a proper plan before they come into a particular career path. All right. So I said that, and I'm going to say it again, that if the major reason you are coming to a career path is because, of course, see, let me tell you something. There is nobody that wants to venture into any business with the intention of losing. No, I've not found one. All right. Even biblically, all right. So this is a godly event. So even biblically, even God that we serve is a what? Is a God of what? Of multiplicity. Like he believes and he encourages so much from teachings that we have seen in the Bible, that whatever comes to your hand, you should be able to do much with it and then bring much more from it, right? So that means the mindset I feel and I believe everybody should go into every project or everything you are doing first is what? Impact. There is no way you will make impact that you will not attract people to yourself. And I mean people of influence. And once you have such audience around you, you can't be poor. You have to, I don't know, no, you can't be poor. So, but then it becomes a wrong motivation when at every, see, there are some things that you just need to leverage on relationship to achieve, not just being transactional. So, for instance, probably you want to even pour back. Maybe you have just learn a 7 days training, and then you just look at your community to say that let me even gather 2 or 3 people, let me teach them for free. It's your own time, and the more you are giving back to that community, you are learning, you are becoming better persons. I've had to train people one-on-one, I've had to train people in the class, I've had to train people in numbers, like close to 500 people in a class. All right, and then you know that it's not just something that you come up with in a day. So it varies. So when you are doing it, just have the first thing that you should have at the back of your mind is, why are you doing it? I want to make impact. So by the time you are making impact, you see that while you are making impact, you are also what, making good value for your time, and then you are making money. Of course, it definitely will come. Definitely, and I'm saying it definitely, it will come.
Thank you so much, TD, for that. I mean, I've been able to learn rather a lot from what you've said, and I'm sure that our audience out there watching this also will be able to learn one or two things that they can apply to their day-to-day life and activities. Now, TD, thank you so much once again. Talking about data analytics now, and also making informed decision. I want you to help me elaborate this. Don't you think many organizations are outsourcing for data analysts? I mean, when I say outsourcing now, what is the range at which people are in need of data analysis? So as to, not just a word of encouragement, but also to be able to open the eyes of our students that they've selected the right course to study during the course of this training.
Now, let me say this. My boss here at Incubator Nigeria will always say something. He said he has, most times people say that they are looking for job, they are looking for job. He said the truth is, people are not actually properly prepared, that there are job opportunities out there. All right. And I can tell you confidently, I'm actually I'm very comfortable with what I do, right? Because I've placed myself side by side with opportunities. Of course, I'm given to learning, so I learn per day along the line of what I am doing, because different opportunities per time. In the next few years, I will be doing so much more, much even than this. All right. But then now there's something you mentioned about in the first time that you talked about the transfer of weight transfer. Right. I was going to say something about it, but eventually skipped my mind to say, actually, you see, one of the greatest way you can actually do, or we can achieve that, is by impacting knowledge. So when we are talking about wealth transfer, we are not talking about calling people together and give them 2,000, 3,000 daily 2K, 5,000. But by the time you are calling, you have 100 people and then you are impacting them with knowledge. So if out of that 100, you have a particular success rate after the training, about out of the 100, 40 people became better persons. What is that? So that means you have been able to take out another 40 people out of poverty. And that is how best we can actually achieve this transfer, wealth transfer. All right. So this is just one of the best way we can actually do this. So, like we have been saying, and we keep saying also, that the best thing is we need to position ourselves. Organizations are out there looking for people to fit into different roles, but the question is, how prepared are people out there? There are times that you just see different job descriptions to say that the company is a particular company is looking for. Apart from the fact that actually, of course, some of them might not really be commensurate to what people really wanted, right? But then start somewhere. Start somewhere. I share a story with us. I met a young man somewhere that said, okay, he couldn't. He was in school and then he left because he was not able to continue because of one thing or the other. So what do you do? I said, you don't have to beg. You are a grown man and then you have everything intact. So I said, okay, get a particular job, start with this. After a few times, then you are doing better at it. You upgrade yourself. You become very inconvenient, like inconvenient with it. You give yourself time. After 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, I'm done here. Then you move on. This young man have gotten another job from the first job because he did better at it in less than 4 months. 4 months. And I'm saying this same person I'm talking about now is already considering the opportunity of going to school while he's working. And that's how it works, right?
Interesting. Thank you so much, TD. I mean, one of the major things I would take from what you just said is that urgent 2K is not okay.
All right, Yano said that. Maybe I should just say Yano said that.
But I got the insight from what TD said.
Oh, wow.
All right, thank you so much, TD. Now, what do you have any final word or thoughts for our fellow audience out there watching this IG live session right now?
Well, what I would say is Incubator Nigeria is out there to actually impact lives. And I'm saying this with my full chest. We have done this before. We are doing it again, and we are still going to do it. Let me say this. Peradventure, you are not privileged to be on this particular training. Probably you didn't meet up the criteria. I would just say that you should just do yourself this good. Follow us on all our social media platforms. There are different opportunities that we roll out at different times. Of course, some of them might come with a cost. Some of them might just be free of charge. So you don't want to miss out on any of these. And the best way is you want to be up to date to see. I know one or two people that say, we don't know when this started, we don't know, probably because you have not. Now that you have gotten to know about Incubator Nigeria, look out for opportunities from Incubator Nigeria, look out for what we do, look out for how we are. You can, in fact, as a matter of fact, you can see our track record of what we have actually done in the past and all of that. And then I think then particularly for those coming, let me just encourage you, do all the best thing you can do for yourself, not to be distracted in this coming week, because you are actually in, or you have set yourself up for a major shift in your career. Because I can tell you, we have seasoned facilitators, our partners. Of course, I know if you have been following this section, we have had different partners. We have had Tiva, we have had Prime Startups, we have had
Macintosh.
we have had different people, and then these people are coming full force. What are they coming to do? You can imagine if 1,000 people is taken out of what joblessness again in the next few days. Now, it might not be immediately, right? But then it's a journey, and that's why I'm going to say that for you to actually see, be among the success rates that we are looking out for. Of course, maybe the 1,000, the entire 1,000 might not actually pull through, but then I can assure you we will have a particular percentage. How many of us, let me leave you with this question as a participant of this, what would be your own record at the end of this training? Do you want to be listed as part of those that are counted as the success rate, or people who dropped out? So I think you should just ask yourself that question, even as you prepare for the physical sections.
Thank you so much, TD, for that. I mean, this is enough for us to anticipate the, physical class that is commencing this coming week. Now, it is of a great privilege to announce that Incubator Nigeria has come to do something important to this generation. Emphasis on Gen Zs and also the millennial generation as well. And of course, it is also clear that
But not
Incubator.
limited to, of course.
Yes, not limited. So I was about to say that even the Gen Alpha are not sleeping on it, and even Gen Beta that are yet to come, anticipating what Incubator has for them. Thank you so much, TD, for joining me on this live session. I really appreciate it. It was an amazing time with you, having such a wonderful discussion. And I want to appreciate the RCCG Continent 3 and also the Incubator Nigeria for bringing this together, seeing the future, making informed decisions, and also affecting the future to become a better place for us in this world. Special thanks to my technical director for bringing this together. I mean, I can imagine a lot of issues that would have happened if it was not doing great over the department.
Well, thanks to our technical director.
Thank you so much. And yes, TD, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the physical class. Are you looking forward to seeing me at the
I
physical
can't
class?
wait. Like I can't wait. And let me tell you something.
Yes, please.
Uh Tomorrow, let me not say it, but then you so for those concerned, you get the updates, right?
You
So
get
let me
the
not just,
update. I
but
was
then
about to say
I'm
that.
looking
Let's just
forward to
give them
seeing you.
updates. Oh,
Yes,
yes, of course.
yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
of course. Thank you so much. And yes, it has been an amazing time. This is exactly 3:59, and we need to end the live session right away. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. A special shout out to all our viewers on Instagram. A special shout out to all our viewers on YouTube, on Facebook, and every other social media platform
Please
that
do
we're
well to
able to.
follow us.
Yes. TD, you're ready. You're already promoting
Yes.
Incubator Nigeria. Well, that's good. That's good. Please do well to follow us on all our social media and those at the Incubator Nigeria NG. And you would also have, informed decisions, clarity, and also many more opportunities that will be coming your way. You really don't want to miss it, and you really don't want to sleep on this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for joining. My name remains Adeniji Iyanolua for the Incubator Nigeria. Thanks to everybody, and God bless you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.